Most people have the wrong interpretation of what it means to be an introvert versus an extrovert, and some people live their entire lives thinking they're one way when in reality they were the other. A lot of people think that if you just like to sit inside all day, that you're an introvert. But that's not how you determine whether or not you're introverted or extroverted. It's based on your energy. And I know this because it's completely changed my life to really realize, like, okay, I'm not actually as introverted as I initially thought. I'm probably like 60% introverted. I'm still introverted, right? But it's completely changed my life because I would use that as an excuse. I would use it as an excuse to not make content, to not pursue things that involved a lot of social interactions. Like I performed stand-up comedy now one time in front of like 200 people. And I would use that as an excuse, like, oh no, I'm introverted. Like that's not something that I would do. But it's based on your energy. So the best analogy I've heard for introversion versus extroversion is an introvert starts the day with, like, let's say 10 coins representing energy. An extrovert starts the day with 0 coins. As an introvert moves throughout the day with their 10 coins, they start to spend their coins as they have social interactions. An extrovert, as they have social interactions, they start to gain coins. I first heard this from Simon Sinek. But the point being is, like, it's based on your energy, on your energy, not what you're capable of doing. So even if you're introverted, you should be capable of public speaking, doing stand-up comedy if you wanted to, making videos if you'd like to, starting new conversations with people, like just doing essentially whatever you want socially. The fact that you desire it, the fact that you would desire, like, let's say you want to put yourself out there by making videos, that means that is natural to you, not necessarily being an introvert. So it's like your past habits could make you think to yourself like, oh, I'm introverted, I shouldn't do this. But if your gut feeling is like, oh, I want to make videos, then I would argue that that's more natural to you. And that doesn't mean that you're extroverted. It just means that it's something you want to do, and it may take energy to do so. But it's worth spending that energy if it's something you want to, if you truly want to do. So it's like, what may be holding you back then is not being an introvert. It's other people's opinions or worry that people may think of you in a different way. But the way to overcome that is to consistently face that feeling. So the action plan here is, if you want to start making content, try and post a video within 24 hours. Or if you want to meet new people, start a conversation with someone. If you're having trouble starting a conversation with someone, you can use my chat framework. It is to comment on what's around you, highlight something about yourself, assess if the other person's interested, and then toss it back to the other person by asking a question. So even if you're introverted, you should be able to do all of these things. Again, it just may take energy to do so. Another mistake that a lot of people make in terms of like introversion versus extroversion is they label themselves. They label themselves as like 100% introvert or 100% extrovert. But in reality, you may be 60% introverted, 40% extroverted. So 60% of your energy may come from being alone, and 40% may come from other people. This is not exactly how it works. It's like a rough science, but it's a good way to think of it, right? The way to figure that out, whether or not you're 60% introverted, 70% introverted, whatever, is by taking the Big 5 personality test. You can just Google Big 5 personality test. If you take that, it'll show you what percentile you are introverted versus extroverted. So if you're like 70% introverted, that means you're still more extroverted than 30% of the population, right? So in that case, if you wanted to maximize how much like energy you had throughout the day, you would have a good amount of social interactions, especially compared to people who are even more introverted than that. So that's really useful. And the problem with the most famous personality test, which is Myers-Briggs, is that it just tells you that you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, which that's not necessarily helpful, right? Because if you think of yourself just as an introvert, you may not realize that you actually gain energy from social interactions, like up to 30% or whatever. But if you focus on really improving your social skills, putting yourself out there, public speaking, these things that involve, I would say, social confidence, then you'll really notice that you're growing as a person, because you're putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, and then you're facing whatever fears there are. My mouth is kind of dry. I've been trying to record these videos with minimal cuts, and that's why I'm gonna drink some tea. But yeah, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it shouldn't hold you back from doing things that you want to do, especially with like meeting new people, putting yourself out there. If you're having trouble putting yourself out there in any way, I'm offering a free coaching call with the link in the description. I will literally coach you for free, assuming you're like above 18 and it makes sense. You can just click on the Calendly link in the description of this video. And listen, taking the steps to really put yourself out there, whether you're introverted or extroverted, is never going to be easy, but I think it will be worth it. Life's not easy, but it's worth it. Take care.